Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Live here, and today we're reviewing for you System Shock 2 25th Anniversary Remaster on the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. This review was originally written by the superb Ollie Reynolds and has been adapted for video by me. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. What comes to mind when you think about BioShock? The remarkable sense of place, the plasmids, the creepy atmosphere and unsettling enemies, the audio logs, whatever it may be, chances are it probably cropped up first in the 1999 sci-fi horror FPS System Shock 2. Written and designed by Ken Levine, who would go on to lead the development on BioShock and BioShock Infinite, System Shock 2 is widely regarded as a pioneering title, leagues ahead of its time and to this day, one of the finest games ever made. Now, thanks to the remaster wizards over at Night Dive Studios, it's finally available on console via System Shock 2 25th Anniversary Remaster. Taking place on the starship Von Braun, you play as a soldier who awakens from cryostasis with amnesia, and it's up to you to work your way through the environment and meet with Dr. Janice Polito, who helps you along the way via radio. Naturally, this is merely a slice of the overarching narrative, and like much of Levine's work, you can expect a couple of twists and turns during your adventure that, if you're completely new to the game, will undoubtedly shock you. All puns very much intended. Gameplay is a mix of exploration, combat, and light RPG mechanics. Exploring Von Braun is an absolute joy, with each main area presenting its own unique sense of atmosphere. Given the game's age, some of the environments look a little bit samey at times, so it's definitely worth toggling on the minimap to give you a helping hand if you ever get lost. That's something that I didn't discover for a long time, as you can probably tell from the footage. That said, Von Braun is a ship that's begging to be explored from top to bottom, and the combination of visual storytelling and collectible audio logs really help add vital context to the overall narrative. The ambient soundtrack and soundscape enhances the sense of place even further thanks to its retro Blade Runner style sci-fi tracks. Taking your time and navigating the environment carefully is highly advisable. Not only will enemies like hybrids, monkeys, and rumblers lurk behind the corners, but surveillance cameras hamper your progress at every turn. Shoot them out if you wish, or clobber them with a crowbar, or hack into security systems and disable them temporarily. Hacking is done by a simple minigame where you have to light up 3 lights in a row, and failing to do so on a red outlined ICE node shuts down the terminal completely, raising the alarm and locking you out until you're able to repair it. It's surprisingly tense. Combat, on the other hand, definitely struggles a bit by comparison. It's not for lack of options, mind you. You've got your standard guns, laser guns, melee weapons, and even plasmid-like cybernetic abilities via the spherical psionic amplifier. The problem is that, by virtue of the game's vintage, encounters often boil down to simply whacking enemies or shooting at them till their health drops to 0, with enemy AI doing little to avoid your attacks. Ultimately, we'd argue that you don't play a game like System Shock 2 for the combat first and foremost, but it's something to keep in mind given the frequency with which you encounter enemies. It's also pretty chuffing difficult at times, so make sure you either lower the setting down to easy or save manually whenever you can to ease the pressure. If you're after a true challenge, however, then Impossible mode is ready and waiting. Either way, you can make things easier by activating the regeneration stations in each area, and these essentially act like respawn points when you die, removing the stress of having to reload your save entirely. If you save frequently enough though, you might find that reloading your save can actually be more beneficial in certain scenarios. Save scumming is absolutely a staple of the time. Finally, unlike BioShock, System Shock 2 gives you complete control over how you build your character abilities. You can increase your stats in 4 key areas, including tech, weapons, psi powers, and operating system. If that's not enough, you can also increase your core stats like strength and endurance. All of this is achieved via collectible cyber modules, which are either gifted to you upon completing a main story objective or locating them throughout the environment. They're pretty rare though, so careful consideration on how you spend them is key to your success. Vending machines are also located throughout Von Braun, so you'll be gathering quite a hefty amount of nanites, the game's currency, from dead bodies and crates. Night Dive's revival of System Shock 2 retains much of the original's essence, enhancing the experience in small yet key ways. Crucially, the game works surprisingly well with traditional console controls via the Switch's analog sticks, with optional gyro aiming thrown into the mix as well, although it's not up to much, though we'd also concede that its complex menu system can be a little bit awkward to navigate at times. Should Night Dive opt to update the game for Switch 2 and introduce mouse controls, this would give it a significant advantage over the likes of the PS5 and Xbox. And whilst we're on that note, it plays perfectly well on Switch 2. In fact, that's where all the capture you're seeing has come from. The original game also included co-op play, but to say that it became somewhat unwieldy over the years with mods and bugs is a major understatement. Night Dive has again revived this for the 25th anniversary remaster, including crossplay across all platforms. You can't join strangers, mind you, so you'll need a room code to access an online session, but having a friend on board would definitely make those higher difficulty settings a little bit more manageable. Switch 2 also provides a great option here as well, as the built-in microphone makes in-game chat an absolute breeze. Like Night Dive's other efforts on Switch, you've also got a rock-solid 60 FPS performance to go along with the enhanced visuals, with frame rate in both docked and handheld never missing a single beat. I mean, you'd expect it, but it's still nice to say that. Visuals are going to look a little bit sharper in docked mode just due to high resolution, but again, unless you're really looking at it closely, it's near enough identical. Don't expect anything even close to the System Shock 1 remake in 2023 though, that's an entirely different beast. One that we do hope makes its way to Switch 2 eventually, but rather this is something more akin to Night Dive's treatment of The Thing Remastered. This is undeniably the very same System Shock 2 that launched in 1999, but with characters and environments looking significantly crisper without losing any of its core identity. You've also got a whole bunch of supplemental material via the Vault. Accessed through the main menu, this contains an almost overwhelming amount of content to peruse, including concept art, trailers, early screenshots, unused assets, sound clips, and interviews. The jewel in the crown, however, has to be the full inclusion of the 290-page Primus strategy guide, scanned and readily available should you need any help and can't be bothered to hop onto the internet. Overall, the Vault represents an excellent celebration of the original classic, and should provide plenty of additional context to both newcomers and veterans. System Shock 2 25th Anniversary Remaster is a wonderful way to experience one of the most well-regarded FPS titles of all time. With an excellent narrative in a world that begs to be explored, it's not only an incredible game in its own right, but should also be considered essential reading for BioShock fans. Minor combat concerns aside, System Shock 2's immersive mechanics will keep you hooked from start to finish, with Night Dive's enhancements and supplemental material providing ample bonus points. Now go and play it, Insect. System Shock 2 25th Anniversary Remaster, you're getting a 9 out of 10 from us. You've reached the end of the review. That means it's time for Alex's personal thoughts, and there's, like, everything this game offers is theoretically right up my street, right? You know, it's old-fashioned, it's low poly, you know, it's got this classic old game design feel, it's really hard, and yet... Nah, I'm joking, I still love it. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's perfect, and I think new players coming in are potentially going to have a bit of a rough time. Like, I know that the Primus strategy guide is in there, but there's some stuff where the game just, unless I've missed the point, because I've never played this before, been really looking forward to it, unless I've really missed the point somewhere, the game just doesn't fully explain certain things, and I think that's very much by design. It wants you to work things out yourself. I didn't know I had to break a window in order to proceed. I mean, eventually I worked it out, but I was quite tired when first playing it, and I was just like, I just don't know where to go. But the real appeal for me here is the atmosphere. Yeah, it looks really, really dated, obviously. It's always going to, you know, it's approaching 30 years old. I mean, it's 25 years old, we know that. But the first time I came across an enemy, I genuinely said some words I can't repeat here. I wasn't expecting it, I just heard something and I was like, what's that? Turned around and this thing is just in my face, and it was genuinely startling because I'd had some like training. You have to go through this like training stuff to begin with, but it doesn't really fully prepare you for the reality of what you're going to be facing, which in a way you could say is kind of, in that case, oh, it's a bad tutorial. But in my mind, it teaches you what to do, but it doesn't give you the opportunity to apply those until you're actually in the real world. And given that this game is designed to be hard and unforgiving, that absolutely works. I sort of alluded to it in the review text, but unfortunately for me, the gyro aiming is not completely, but almost worthless. Like, you can enable it, but it is so weak in its sensitivity, and I think maybe you can boost it by increasing the sensitivity for just looking in general, but you just, like, you have to do these massive arcing motions to get almost anything out of it. I don't know if I'm maybe doing something wrong or what, but for the life of me, I can't get any decent movement out of it whatsoever on either axis. I've not played masses of it just yet, and I think I've gone for completely the wrong build. I focused entirely on psi powers, which, after doing research after I decided to do that, apparently is like the hardest way to play the game. I did have to put it down to normal. I started on hard, and I brought it back down to normal just so that I could breathe. But it's great. I've been really enjoying my time with it. It seems almost painfully balanced in how many nanites you get. And, you know, to keep things tense, you know, sort of, oh, am I going to have enough to go and, you know, heal myself? Or, oh, I need to buy a psi hypo. And, oh my God, do I need to buy psi hypos? I'm so low all the time. But I'm still learning, still understanding, still finding out what makes this game tick. And I'm having a hell of a time.